Okay, in previous videos we looked at how to insert all manner of things onto this page. And in this video we're going to look at just last features you can use for some formatting to make the page a little more readable. So each of these tiles or sections or rows will have certain features you can apply to it. So by clicking on one, you'll see that there's a trash can. You can remove it. You can see that there's also this nice duplicate button. So sometimes you do have sections that share a lot of the basic format or information or something, and just know that you can just duplicate a whole section and then make modifications to it to make it its own unique entity. But as far as formatting goes, when you click on one of these, you're going to find a little palette. And you have limited options here. You can put an image in the back. Let's jump right to the bottom. And you can use a pre-selected image. You can go to your Google your albums, or you can go to your drive directly. Shared with me, things that you've recently uploaded. Okay, so these are here. There's a pizza. Okay, you can see that might get a little busy, might really detract from the your site, from the purpose of your site, but it is an option. You can also just select an image that they've provided. So there's a softer image. Really doesn't have much to do with my site or my content, so I'm not sure how appropriate that is either. Come on, there you go. Okay, but you do have, I can go back to regular here, and that will just kind of reset me to my starting point. But you also have these two options of emphasis 1 and emphasis 2. If you go to emphasis 1, what you're going to notice is that maybe the background changes ever so slightly. Come on. Whereas if you go to emphasis 2, you can see that the change is more dramatic. And that's not really particularly good choice there, but if I slide down on my page, you can see that now the background of this section is different. And that's just another way for you to segment the page and break it into logical sections. So be aware that you do have these options for formatting different blocks. And if they're used judiciously, they can actually be very, very effective in helping your user differentiate between information on the page. Another way that you can document is if you come all the way to the bottom of the page, you can add a footer. So this is a good way to provide information that you would like on every single page. So site designed and maintained by RCR. And maybe I'll put a disclaimer or something down here that this is an educational site, or whatever you want. You do have your general formatting tools here, so I'm not going to go over this again. But this will be included on the bottom of every page, so it's a nice option. Okay, while we're here, something we haven't addressed so far is the tools across the top. We've looked at undo and redo. Without introducing it formally, I've looked at preview. Preview is simply a way to see your site as your users will see it. Okay, you'll see there's three options here. So if you click on the first one, it's going to show you what it will look like on a phone, essentially. This is more of a tablet view. This is more of a widescreen view for a computer, etc. And when you're done with that, you just click the X. You'll come back into editing mode. Now, in addition to that, you do have this little man where you can share with others. Now note that when you're sharing with others, this would be most often used when you're going to have a collaborator on a project. So you're going to give someone edit permissions, and you just come in here and you put in their Gmail address. This works. I'm not going to go over all the details about notify people, etc., because you've seen this many, many times. It works the same way as sharing with all your other Google apps. Okay. You can see right now that it's in draft, so specific people can edit, but no one else can see it. So one thing that you need to do with a Google site, I've built all this and it's all great, is you're going to need to publish it before anybody can see it. So when you hit publish, it's going to suggest to you a web address. You can change this if you'd like. This portion of the address is what you're going to get by default. And then this portion up here is what's unique to this particular site. If you owned web space and had a custom URL, you could work with that here, but most of us are just putting these up through our G Suite accounts. So you just see if this is what you like. If you don't like, you can always try something else. It will let you know if you can't use it. It will let you know if there's a duplicate, and then you're going to have to change this. Let's try this. So, oh, look at that. This is a great address, but it's already taken. So somebody else already has just the plain old welcome. And if I say welcome to my site, that's gone. But if I said welcome to my site, 1, 2, 3, 4, that seems to be available. Often what it suggests is good, but you can put some thought into this. You can also request that public search engines not display my site. So Google or Yahoo or any of those sites that search, you can make a request that the search engine not index your site and make it available to the public. For all of those spiders and things crawling around the internet that are just looking for sites, this is no guarantee. This is simply a request, and you're dependent on it being honored. And the major sites will honor it, but of course others will not. So I simply hit publish, and that's it. The site is done. One mistake people commonly make with this, very commonly, is that they make changes to the site and they forget to republish. Now, people are going to see welcome when they go to it, but they are not going to see welcome to my site. If I come here and I say view published site, note my changes are not reflected here because I would simply have to publish it again. So whenever you make changes, if you want those visible, you're going to just hit that publish button again. Remember to do that as part of your workflow. And now if I come to the same page and refresh it, we should see that here. Well, connection seems to be a little slow. Come on, publish. Let's just do it this way. View published site. Close that one up. There you go. So there's the change. Okay, once the site is published, this link button over here is going to give you a link where you can copy. You could email this link to someone. So it wasn't available before because the site was not published, but once it's published, it's just a quick way to get the link to your site. You can get it in other ways as well. Additional options, there are site analytics. You can duplicate the site, which is great. If you have a site and it's a really good base for a new site, you don't have to start from scratch. Custom URLs, these are things we're not going to deal with right now, but there are a couple of other minor options. Now under publish, you can also unpublish. So if you decide that you no longer want the site available, maybe it's the end of a school year, you want to pull it down, or maybe it's just no longer of use to you, just unpublish the site and it will no longer be visible to other to people on the outside. Now view published site we've looked at, but publish settings, that's just going to bring you back to this screen. And that's basically how you get your site up and running. We're going to have 2 more videos in this series. One is going to be dealing with themes, which will be a relatively short one, and the other will be dealing with pages. So we've created a site, but the site only has 1 page. So what if you want to do something more complex or move some of this content to different pages? We'll look at that in subsequent videos.